The beautiful Kayleigh McEnany comes out and speaks yesterday. I love listening to this woman speak. I think it's great every single time. But the craziest thing about these speeches is what she covers and then what the news does. And then that's how you can pick up on their narrative. It's very clear, very clear. And this one, we already have a clear idea of where they're running with the whole narrative. So the opening speech that Kayleigh has here, she goes over pretty much the attack on our police. She even goes over a time frame of the last 24 hours of what has happened in our country with our police getting attacked. It's crazy, and normal Americans are very concerned about this. They want to know what the hell's going on in our country. Here's the opening speech.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just spoke with the president, and he wanted to thank the commissioner of Big Ten football, Kevin Warren, and all of the players, parents, coaches, and fans who wanted more than anything to play football. The president was happy to get this thing going, and now you will have players in Maryland, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Ohio, Iowa, Indiana, Illinois, Minnesota, Mississippi, and Nebraska, who will now have access to football, which is very good to see. Transitioning to a much more somber topic, and one that is very important to the president, I want to talk a little bit about our police officers. 14 months ago, 2 deputies with the Los Angeles Police Department were sworn in to protect and serve their community. This past Saturday, these 2 deputies were ambushed. While sitting in their patrol car in Compton, California, a suspect approached the passenger side window, took aim, and fired multiple shots at point-blank range into the patrol car. "I've been shot, send help," begged one of the deputies over 911. This was a cowardly, brazen, and unprovoked attack against law enforcement. One of the deputies attacked was a 31-year-old mother of a 6-year-old boy. She was seen on security footage attending to the wounds of her partner, despite being shot in the jaw and arm herself. She is a true hero. Rushed to the hospital, these 2 deputies were targeted yet again. The LA County Sheriffs tweeted this: "To the protesters blocking the entrance and exit of the hospital emergency room, yelling 'We hope they die,' referring to 2 LA sheriffs ambushed today in Compton. They said this: 'Do not block emergency entries and exits to the hospital. People's lives are at stake.'" Truly despicable behavior from those protesters. People's lives are indeed at stake. And it is truly, quote, "a double miracle," as the Los Angeles Sheriff Alex Villanueva described it, that these 2 deputies are alive today. Targeting a police officer is an assault against your community. It is an assault against law and order. It is antithetical to what we value as Americans. We all remember the disastrous impact of the Ferguson effect. We do not want to see a repeat today. Defund the police is not just dangerous policy, it is a poisonous ideology. We must respect our police, not revolt against them. In the past 24 hours alone, we've seen law enforcement targeted across the country. This is in 24 hours. In Phoenix, a U.S. Marshal was ambushed and shot outside a federal courthouse in a drive-by shooting. In Linwood, California, a suspect approached a patrol car and fired a handgun into the passenger side window. In Suffolk, Virginia, a suspect opened fire on a marked police car, hitting the vehicle 3 times. This is within 24 hours. These acts are despicable. Rhetoric such as defund the police is likely to have negative consequences for law enforcement across the country, threatening the safety of our communities. As Los Angeles Sheriff Villanueva warned, the ambush in Compton is a, quote, "sober reminder. It's a dangerous job. Actions, words have consequences," he said. Our job does not get any easier because people do not like law enforcement. It pisses me off," he said. "It dismays me at the same time. There's no pretty way to say it." The president wants law and order, which is the best way to ensure peace on our streets. And he wants our police to be respected and protected.
After that speech, she opens it up for questions. And almost every single question that came from reporters was about what Trump said the night before about masks. About masks. Not once was about police. You know, the people that keep us safe. I'll call out all day when there's bad cops, and that's fine, but most people don't realize that police are needed. They did not ask a single question about police. It was about the dumbass comment that Trump made the night before. Like I've said before, Trump says dumb things, knowing that the media is constantly sitting there waiting. And they just need a 30-second clip. And then they're going to run with it. And that's what they did. Trump made a comment about how masks can be more harmful than good, which the CDC did say this. Fauci did say it. She goes over this over and over again. Here's one of those examples.
Yes. I have two questions. You said that the president was talking about wearing a mask improperly last night, touching it, referring to what Dr. Fauci has said. But he said, quote, there are people that don't think masks are good. That's clearly not what the CDC director thinks, since he said today that masks are important, powerful public health tool we have. They could be even more protective against COVID than a vaccine. So have any medical experts told the president that masks aren't good, or is he only citing non-medical experts like he did last night?
He's referring to the fact that when used appropriately, they can have unintended consequences, much like what Dr. Fauci said. It's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is, and oftentimes there are unintended consequences. So the president agrees with Dr. Fauci that mask wearing is good. It's recommended. The president's continually recommended it from this podium, but he was just pointing out some of the unintended consequences if not used appropriately.
He didn't say that. He just said there are people
No,
that
he
think
did.
masks
Go on.
aren't.
Do you have his whole exchange? Would you like to read it out?
I watched it last night. He
Where he
said
went
there
and
are
talked
people
about-
who don't think masks are good. He didn't say improperly or anything like
Kayleigh,
that.
he
That's
went
what I'm
on in a
saying.
very, unfortunately, a bunch of you are very keen on doing selective editing of the president's quotes and not referring to the second half. Directly under that statement, he talked about a waiter touching the mask, then touching a plate, and that being an unintended effect of wearing a mask. That is an example of a mask not being used
Waiters
appropriately.
don't think masks are good, but
And
didn't cite
he
medical-
described the exact scenario in which a mask could have an unintended consequence if not used appropriately. And we can send you the clip. We'll put it up on Twitter for
I
you.
watched it. That's okay. I just wanted to see if there's any medical experts who have said that.
And they have, and I just read Dr. Fauci's quote. So go ahead.
Yes, I've read Dr. Fauci's quotes.
And that's what they're focusing on. And they just keep doing it over and over again, where she even has to repeat herself. These people don't realize, like, they're not catering to the average American, like me, you. I'm like, I'm pretty broke. I'm poor. I grew up in poverty. I'm Hispanic. I came from a poor ass family, paycheck to paycheck. And these people are over there still hounding this idea of masks. And these people have no idea. They're so far disconnected. These reporters, even people in politics, these politicians are so far disconnected from the normal people out there that, you know how much we give a shit about a virus when you can't go to work and pay your bills? Death has many faces. Living paycheck to paycheck is already hard enough. Then you're going to tell me that, oh, you don't have to pay rent, but you're going to have to come up with all the money in 4 months. That's BS. People can't do that. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, and I don't even like to look at it as paycheck to paycheck, because at least for me, especially during my darker times, my paychecks were spent before I even got paid. Like, people already had the money before I even got paid. It was more of a countdown of like hoping that I was going to have anything left, or playing the game of, all right, so we got to prioritize our bills this month and figure out which bills can we skip and which ones do we have to pay. And most people don't know what that's like, or maybe most people do. But you prioritize your bills because you don't make enough money to pay them. You're waiting for the holiday months to come around. That way you can hopefully pick up enough hours to pay your raising gas bill because it's colder outside. And these people want to talk about masks. People don't care about masks or getting a virus if they can't even live day to day. Great, I have to go out and wear. I'm like, when you're struggling, the things that matter most to the people that don't struggle with money or struggle month to month or paycheck to paycheck, they worry about masks. Food matters more than masks. Your electric, your gas bill matters more. Your rent matters more. And next thing you know, you're prioritizing your bills of which ones can you afford to skip. It's like, hold on, let me stop and think. We need somewhere to live. I need a car to get to work. So those are the top two right there. And then you start moving them down where your gas, your electric, they're on the top of the list, but they're not number 1 and 2. Because if the gas shuts off, we can get more blankets. And these people keep focusing on masks. These people have private security, so they ignore police. They don't worry about their safety. It's easy for them. They have private security. Someone approaches them, their security takes care of it. But average Americans who are just struggling to make it through can afford to have nice things every now and then. Those things that make life just a little bit more enjoyable, from working 55, 65 hours a week. And not that it's 55, 65 hours a week because I just absolutely enjoy my job. I travel and blah, 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 blah. No, I'm doing 65 hours a week just to live paycheck to paycheck. These people don't get it. And I hope one day they do. But this is the things that they don't see, especially when it comes to whether you're supporting Trump or Biden. I always say just honestly, fuck them both. Throw them both to the side, and then you line up and look at the things of not what they're promising to do, but what have they done. Trump has a way smaller record to go through. Go through it. Don't trust any news outlet and see what he's done. Has he actually helped people or not? I've done that. He has helped people. He says dumb crap all the time, but he has helped people. And people don't ask themselves why. Why would he do that? This isn't bettering him. This isn't making him more rich. This is making him the most hated man in media, at least. Biden's been around for decades. What is he going to do now? Really? He's out there speaking a big game, but trying to speak a big game, but he really isn't. But what is he going to do? Normal people are worried about their day-to-day problems. The world can be falling down. And if you have kids and they're not eating, the world is in your house and taking care of those kids. If you're hungry and you're starving to death, the world is you. If you can't go out and pay your rent, the world is you. Do you care about the politics in your city, your state, your country? No. You want to survive. You want to live. You want life to be better. But to ignore the small thing, like the thing that's happening right now, to focus on the crap that these people just keep on deciding to drive, that's the problem. You get rid of our police. We know what crime is. We know the real people that exist out there, the people that take advantage because we don't have security. We know what it's like to call the police and have to wait. They don't. So they want to get rid of them. It's okay for them. They don't know what that life is like. Some of them do. But every time I turn around and look at the media, those people are reporting to whatever guarantees their paycheck. It's not about you. It's not about the American people. It's not about the people that are struggling. It's about them, themselves. And this is why you don't trust anybody. You don't trust celebrities. Same thing. Oh, yeah, let's get rid of police. Let's ignore that. Blah, 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 blah. You're not the one making sure I'm secure with my family. You're not making sure I'm secure walking down the street. You are, because you travel everywhere with security. This is why people may not be showing up in the polls, but the ones that do have enough time and ability to even look at politics are supporting Trump. It's not about him being the best man in the world. If any idiot out there, and I'm sorry if anyone watches this and you fall into that category, you do not trust anybody 100% completely. You don't know Trump. I don't know Trump. I don't know if he's a great man. I don't know what his true intentions are. He can have some underlying intentions here that are made up of true evil. He could. But everything that I've seen, he doesn't. I've spent time looking at him, watching the things that he does that aren't in the media. He's losing money while he's in office. He's an absolute genius or the biggest dumbass in the world because he has some underlying plan that none of us can figure out of like what the left thinks he's doing, of why he's so evil and whatever. Or the craziest thing in the world, he might actually love America. Maybe. Just maybe. But one thing I do know for sure, he's the one not catering to your Hollywood elites, your mass media. His story isn't changing along the way to fit any sort of narrative. He just says it. I will take someone like that, someone that isn't a politician, and leave me with a question mark of what may be coming, versus someone like Joe Biden, who supports what is happening. I don't want to see the destruction of any of this. I don't want to see your typical politician just saying the shit out of his ass in order to get elected. And right now, the biggest campaign of slam Trump. Trump did this, Trump did this, Trump did this. Don't be one of those people that believe all the shit that comes out of their mouth. Yes, Trump does do dumb shit all of the time. But step away, and watch what he has done. Not just the bad. Like always, if you guys find value in this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. You guys have a good one.